Ever heard of the Trojan War? I bet you've heard of heroes like Achilles and Hector. But what if I told you there was another warrior, a forgotten giant, whose strength and skill rivaled even the mighty Achilles? This is the story of Memnon, the king of Ethiopia, the son of a goddess, and the only man who truly challenged Achilles for the title of the greatest warrior at Troy. Today, we're rebuilding his legend, one brick at a time. Memnon's story begins not in the dusty plains of Troy, but far to the south, in the sun-drenched kingdom of Ethiopia. He was a king, respected and loved by his people. But he was more than just a mortal ruler. His mother was none other than Eos, the beautiful goddess of the dawn. Each morning, as she painted the sky with rosy light, she looked down upon her son with pride. His father was Tithonus, a Trojan prince, which meant the blood of Troy flowed through Memnon's veins. He was a demigod, blessed with immense strength, courage, and a commanding presence that inspired loyalty in all who followed him. While the Trojan War raged for 10 long years, Memnon ruled his kingdom in peace. But that was all about to change. After the fall of Troy's greatest champion, Hector, at the hands of Achilles, a desperate plea for help crossed the seas. King Priam of Troy, Memnon's uncle, sent a message begging his powerful nephew to come to their aid. The city was on the brink of collapse, and they needed a new champion, a new hope. Torn between his peaceful kingdom and his duty to his family, Memnon made his choice. He would answer the call. He gathered his vast and formidable army of Ethiopian warriors and set sail for the besieged city of Troy. The arrival of Memnon and his army was a sight to behold. Imagine a fleet of ships appearing on the horizon, sails billowing, carrying thousands of warriors from a distant land. When they marched through the gates of Troy, it was like a shot of adrenaline for the weary Trojans. Here was a hero in their midst, shining and powerful, wearing magnificent armor crafted by the god Hephaestus himself, the very same smith who had forged the armor of Achilles. The Trojans rejoiced. Their spirits, so low after Hector's death, soared once more. They believed that with Memnon leading them, victory was finally within their grasp. But on the other side of the battlefield, in the Greek camp, a different feeling spread: fear. The Greeks had heard tales of Memnon's prowess. They saw his massive army, disciplined and strong. They looked upon this new champion, a demigod king, and they knew the war was far from over. A new and terrible challenger had entered the fray, and even the bravest of the Greek heroes felt a chill of dread. The stage was set for a new bloody chapter of the Trojan War. The very next day, the gates of Troy swung open, and Memnon led the Trojan forces onto the battlefield. He was like a force of nature, a whirlwind of destruction. His skill with the spear and sword was unmatched, and he cut through the Greek ranks with ease. Warriors who had survived years of fighting fell before him in moments. The Greeks, so confident just days before, were pushed back, stumbling in disarray. During the chaos, a brave and respected Greek warrior named Antilochus stepped forward to face the Ethiopian king. Antilochus was the son of the wise old King Nestor and a close friend of Achilles. He was fast, courageous, and a skilled fighter. He saw the devastation Memnon was causing and knew he had to be stopped. But the duel was tragically short. Memnon, with his divine strength, was simply too powerful. He struck down Antilochus, and the young hero fell. When news of Antilochus's death reached Achilles, his grief quickly turned to white-hot rage. Antilochus was not just a fellow soldier. He was one of his dearest companions. This was a personal blow, just like the death of his cousin Patroclus. Achilles, who had been mourning, now had a new and singular purpose: vengeance. He swore an oath that Memnon would pay for what he had done. The two greatest warriors on the planet were now on a collision course. The entire battlefield seemed to hold its breath. On one side stood Achilles, the seemingly invincible son of the sea goddess Thetis, fueled by grief and rage. On the other stood Memnon, the mighty son of the dawn goddess Eos, fighting for honor and family. This wasn't just a battle between two men. It was a clash of titans, a duel for the ages. Even the gods on Mount Olympus paused to watch, placing their wagers on who would emerge victorious. Their mothers, Thetis and Eos, pleaded with Zeus to spare their sons, but fate could not be denied. The two demigods charged. The sound of their spears and swords crashing against divinely made shields echoed like thunder across the plains. For a long time, they were perfectly matched. Every strike was parried, every thrust was dodged. They were mirror images of each other, in strength, in speed, and in skill. The soldiers on both sides could only stare in awe at the display of martial prowess. But in the end, destiny, as weighed by Zeus on his golden scales, tipped in one direction. With a final mighty effort, Achilles thrust his spear through Memnon's heart. The great king of Ethiopia, the hope of Troy, fell to the ground. The battle was over. As her son fell, a cry of pure agony echoed from the heavens. Eos, the goddess of the dawn, watched in horror as the life faded from her beloved child. Her heart broke, and her tears fell from the sky, blanketing the earth as the morning dew. In her overwhelming grief, the world was plunged into darkness as she refused to bring forth the dawn. She flew down to the battlefield, gathered her son's body, and carried him away. She begged Zeus, the king of the gods, not to let her son's memory fade into nothingness. Moved by her profound sorrow and out of respect for the fallen hero, Zeus granted her wish. He bestowed immortality upon Memnon, but it was an immortality of a unique kind. As Memnon's body was placed on a funeral pyre, a miracle occurred. From the ashes and smoke, a flock of birds arose, circling the pyre before splitting into two groups. These birds, which became known as the Memnonides, battled each other above the flames until half of them fell back into the fire as a sacrifice. It is said they return every year to that spot to reenact their sorrowful battle, forever honoring the memory of their fallen king. Though Memnon's life was cut short, his name echoed through history in a very strange and mysterious way. Far away in Egypt, near Thebes, stand two colossal statues of a pharaoh, seated on a throne and gazing east. For centuries, one of these statues had a peculiar habit. Every morning at the break of dawn, it would emit a strange, musical, whistling sound. The ancient Greeks and Romans who visited the site believed this was no coincidence. They were convinced that the statue was not of an Egyptian pharaoh, but of Memnon, and that the sound was him greeting his mother, Eos, the goddess of the dawn, as she began her daily journey across the sky. They named the statues the Colossi of Memnon. Travelers came from all over the ancient world to hear the singing statue, believing it to be a good omen. Although a later emperor repaired the statue, silencing it forever, the name stuck. These massive stone giants, standing silently in the desert, became an enduring monument to the Ethiopian king who fought so bravely at Troy, a permanent reminder of a son greeting his divine mother. So, why is Memnon's story so important? Because in the entire epic of the Trojan War, he is the only warrior who is presented as a true equal to Achilles. Hector was a great mortal champion, but Memnon was a demigod. Just like Achilles, he wore armor made by the same god, and he commanded the same level of fear and respect on the battlefield. His arrival at Troy posed the first real threat to Achilles' supremacy. The duel between them wasn't just a fight. It was a test to see who was truly the greatest warrior of their time. While Achilles won the battle, Memnon won an immortal legacy. He's the hero remembered by the dawn itself. Every morning when the dew appears on the grass, ancient poets said it was the tears of Eos, still mourning for her magnificent son. He represents unwavering loyalty, courage in the face of impossible odds, and the profound bond between a mother and her child. Though often overshadowed by other heroes, Memnon's legend is a powerful and moving part of the Trojan War saga. Memnon may be a forgotten giant, but his story is a testament to the fact that heroism comes in many forms. He wasn't a Greek, but he fought with honor. He lost the duel, but he gained immortality. He is a hero worthy of being remembered alongside the greatest names of mythology. So next time you see the sunrise, think of Eos painting the sky, and perhaps remember her son, Memnon, the warrior who dared to challenge Achilles. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more legendary stories rebuilt.